that, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. I'd really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and share, and leave me a comment. What do you think about this next story that we're going to get into? A prominent porn star, arguably one of the most famous ones there is, gives marriage advice in a now viral TikTok. Mia Khalifa, who made money sleeping with men, and in some cases women, I believe, has gone viral for this TikTok in which she gives her marriage advice. Everybody, let's take a look right here at this video.
Oh, we're comparing stats. Baby girl doesn't know that I am Tom Brady at this game. Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes. We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage is not a sanctimonious thing. It is paperwork. It's something, it's a commitment you make to someone. But if you feel like you're not getting anything from that commitment and you're trying, you gotta go. You gotta go. You have to go. I know it's difficult to fill out paperwork and to make appointments and to do all of these things, but this is life. Do you want to be stuck with someone? Period. Do you want to be stuck with someone?
So that was Mia Khalifa, a prominent porn star, giving her marriage advice. Yes, true story. And she has every right to give her marriage advice. I don't want to say like she doesn't, but we should honestly analyze exactly what she has to say, because obviously she's an expert in some kind of a relation. But there's two quotes that I want to start off with when it comes to this, and it's: marriage is paperwork. Marriage is not sanctimonious. And there's no sanctity in marriage. That's disgusting and false. Marriage actually originated as a religious term. It is not, while it has worked its way into our legal lexicon, it is a religious term that represents the union of two people in God's image. Represents the idea of Adam and Eve, the first true union between two people. So, yes, marriage, while it does contain paperwork in the legal sense, it is very sanctimonious, but obviously that's representative of the secular society that we are moving towards, where people don't believe in God, don't respect religion, actively fight against religion, and thus don't have any need for marriage, no belief in marriage. And we're going to get to all that. But while I'm no marriage expert, I want to be clear about that. I'm not a marriage expert either, just as much as Mia Khalifa is no marriage expert. I feel as though this advice that she gives is problematic for a few reasons. So first, let's question the background of the person giving the advice as it relates to the fundamental idea of marriage, right? The majority of marriages in America, and the majority of marriages, period, are usually built around a monogamous relationship. Now, there are some of different faiths. I know that in the past, and don't get mad at me if you are a Mormon, but I know that in the past, Mormons used to use their faith to rationalize a polygamist relationship. There's other faiths, obviously, that have been modeled around polygamy. However, the majority, we're generalizing here, I'll admit it, but the majority of marriages are built upon a monogamous relationship. And what do I mean by monogamy? Well, what I mean by monogamy is one man, one woman in relationship, and thus also one man, one woman in intimate relations, in partner relations, and things that you're doing together. It's one man, one woman. Or heck, honestly, let's take it out of this. So that's the traditional idea of marriage. Even one man, one man. Even if you want to take it a little bit into like 2012, once that was legalized, one man, one woman, one woman. That's usually what marriage is. It's the idea of a monogamous relationship. The vast majority of marriages in America are monogamous. Now let's take the person in question who is giving this marriage advice. Obviously has, before 30, gone through 3 marriages and 3 divorces. She got her fame and made most of her living by performing sex acts and engaging intimately with many men, and in some cases women, sometimes many at once. So, do you think she's an expert on monogamy? And no, I know for all the liberals out there that's going to go, he's slut shaming her. No, I'm not slut shaming. Do what you want, I guess. I mean, like, if that's how you want to make your money, but don't try to tell me what healthy marriage and healthy relationship advice is when that's your view of the world, is that you could just sleep with whoever you want and get a payday for it. Like, don't try to tell me that you know a lot about a healthy relationship. So that's that. Simply the premise of the person giving the relationship needs to be called into question. Then let's also ask the question of the advice itself. And while the premise of the advice is insane, like I said, the idea of a person who has flourished off promiscuity and then tries to give me advice on monogamous relationships, that's just hilarious in and of itself. While that premise is insane, we must take it seriously. Why? Because it seems like a lot of people follow this kind of ideology, that ideology being what she essentially says is that if you're bored with somebody, if a relationship doesn't seem fulfilling in the moment, drop it. It's just paperwork, right? It's just paperwork. We need to take this especially seriously because this seems to be an ideological trend among many young women, especially. Now, men can be thrown in there too, men can be, but a lot of young women. Let's walk this out statistically, because again, I'm not a marriage expert, but I can look at statistics. Let's walk this out. First off, while not all young women are making money off their promiscuity, it is on the rise. The digital paywall platform, OnlyFans, has essentially allowed all women to profit off intimate pictures and videos. Not only that, statistics back up my claims of increased promiscuity. In a study of sexual trends in the United States, researchers at the University of Utah found that promiscuity is rising for women and declining for men. The number of women who've had sex with more than 15 partners has increased over the past few decades from 3% to 7%. Now, while that's not a drastic rise, it's 4%, it's still 4% and it's a rise, and it is declining. Promiscuity is declining for men. So this does seem to be kind of more of a woman's conversation. And yeah, I'm a man commenting on it. I can do whatever the heck I want. If a porn star can comment on marriage, I can comment on women's issues, period. Let's just say that. That said, let's look at divorce rates. Let's compare it because I'm talking about Mia Khalifa's promiscuity and her concept of marriage and understanding of marriage. Let's compare that. And so then we look at women's promiscuity. Now let's look at divorce rates. According to the census, the 2021 divorce rate dropped from 6.9 in the last year from 9.7 divorces per 1,000 women in 2011. So in 10 years, the divorce rate dropped. Good, right? Increased sexual promiscuity has also led to a lower divorce rate. That must be helping with relationships, right? Wrong, everybody, wrong. According to the census in 2021, the United States marriage rate was 14.9 marriages per 1,000 women in the last year per 1,000 women, down from 16.3 a decade earlier. So while divorces have gone down a bit, which is good, marriages have also gone down a comparable amount. So divorces have gone down, likely, the statistics would show that marriages are going down because divorces are going down because marriages are going down. You got less people married, less people are going to get divorced. Makes sense. It's not because of the rise in promiscuity. I would argue that, in fact, the rise in promiscuity has actually led to less people getting married. And with that, birth rates are also down about 13% in the last 15 years. So let's bring back in Mia's marriage advice. Just drop them. That's her advice. Just drop them if you're bored. Just drop them. Well, that seems to be what people are doing to marriage and parenthood as a whole. In a world where instant gratification is king, and the slightest hint of hardship or boredom must be eradicated, what else would you expect? And that has led us down to a road of our own demise. Declining birth rates, declining marriages, declining belief in God and religiousness, decline. Nowadays, people look for a quick hit of happiness and don't look down the long, hard road for the light at the end of the tunnel. They don't. Marriages aren't supposed to be easy. You're not always supposed to be happy in a marriage. Having kids, like we talked about in the Washington Post article earlier, it's not supposed to be easy. Nobody promised you an easy life. I don't know where people in my generation especially got this idea. No one promised you an easy life. Life is hard. And your most fulfilling moments, the most fulfilling thing in life is when you show yourself that you can get through those hard times and see what comes out on the other side. Boredom is going to be a part of life. You're going to get bored in a relationship. You're going to. And if you just drop it, you're going to consistently be looking for fulfillment that's never there. And that's what I hear from people. While I understand this is anecdotal, the young people I know who are fit, they work out, That's something that takes commitment. I'm not the most fit. I'm working on it right now, but I'm not the most fit. But the people that I know that are, and they're in a stable, long-term relationship, they're either engaged or married or plan to be so. They're having or expecting children or expect to have children and live a life in fear but reverence of God. Again, anybody who's religious understands what I mean by having a fear of God. But they live a life of reverence for God. They all seem, when you fit those criteria, they seem a million times happier than those living a life of self-servance and indulgence. A million times happier. And again, it's anecdotal. That's not a real statistic. I just pulled it out of my butt. But they seem so much happier. So while society heeds Mia's advice, like I said, female promiscuity is up. The sexual revolution won. Cardi B's getting what she wants. Let's encourage people to consider the alternative. And that's likely not going to be an easy thing. I mean, when you have, and I've talked about this before, when you have an entire party, when you have people that push this idea that, oh, well, I mean, women, just go sleep with as many people as you want. You need to be able to have an abortion so you never have to face accountability for your actions. And you could just seek every hit of happiness you always want in instant gratification. It's not going to be easy. Why? Again, I've talked about this. Why are young women going towards liberalism? Because it preaches an idea that you don't have to be accountable for your actions. You don't have to be accountable for your actions. And thus, women are being having much more sex and being more promiscuous as men are not. Men are becoming more conservative. And so this is going to cause a great gender divide. I'm serious. This is going to cause a great gender divide. And it could lead to even more declining birth rates. And like I said, decline, leading to our demise. It could. But my best advice is, because obviously not every woman is going towards that level of promiscuity. There are conservative women out there, and there are many conservative men out there. My best advice is to those who think like I do, those who believe in going through the rough crap to find further happiness, which is also just a message of God. Life on earth is not supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be working towards that higher calling. But I digress. My best advice is to those who think like I do. Get married, have a lot of children, and we can repopulate society with common sense. The common sense that's not so common right now. Yes, there's declining birth rates. Maybe it's those liberals that aren't having the kids. If we repopulate the earth and teach our kids right, then we can reinstill common sense. And again, I'm not married. I'm not in a relationship. I'm searching for that. That's something a goal of mine. Get married, have kids, live a life in God, with God, for God. But that's what we got to do, it seems like. I mean, get married, have kids, repopulate common sense into society. Those three things, and the world might be better tomorrow than it is today. And maybe we won't lead towards decline and demise. Just saying. Everybody, it's not going to be easy. Life isn't easy. Life is hard. I've learned that. I'm sure many of you have learned that. But the hard times make the good times even better. And that's all I got to say about that.